Man, I got a long one for you today. What's up, Fin fans? So yesterday I was supposed to make the D-line and linebacker video because that's what happened at the combine yesterday. But I realized that today there's only like the secondary, so it's not like 3 positions. So I combined day 3 and day 4, and that's what you're getting today. This is the way I'm gonna break it down. I got some news for you guys, and then I'm gonna go into defensive line linebackers, and then I'm gonna go into safeties and corners, lump them together. Then I have essentially all the stuff that's coming out of the combine when it comes to players being drafted, players being traded, what is everyone saying, all the GMs and the coaches and stuff, what they're all saying, and the stuff that is going around the combine essentially. So I'm gonna put that at the end of the video. Well, not the end, but before the comment of the day. So be sure to stay to check that out because I got some things to tell you. So let's start with something that I forgot to tell you guys about on day 2. And it's this picture right here. That's Matt Moore sitting with Dan Marino and Jim Caldwell. Essentially, Matt Moore he's not officially with the Miami Dolphins in a scout or in like some type of coaching aspect, but he is helping the team with quarterbacks and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool to see Matt Moore over there doing his thing. Other than that, the other stuff I want to tell you is going to come later on in the video. Let's jump right into defensive linemen. This year's draft for defensive linemen is deep. Every year there's a position that they're deep in. Like one year it was wide receivers, one year it was running back, one year it was offensive linemen. This year it's defensive linemen. There is a ton of defensive linemen that did really, really well at the combine today. I'm gonna break down a few of them. Linebacker, there's a few. There's like 2 or 3 that did really well and 2 or 3 that probably will be, first, second round draft picks. Linebacker's not as deep as it has been. Defensive line is a whole different world. So first, let's look at the 40 time, and you can see Montez Sweat 4.41, fastest 40-yard by a defensive lineman. Period. He took the mantle for that. Then you have Justin Hollins, Brian Burns. Look out for that name. Really, really, really good defensive end there. Rashawn Gray and Chase Winkovic, I don't know. That's the 40. Then you have the bench press. Number 1, Dexter Lawrence, who's also very favored to go to Miami at 13 if he's still there at Miami at 13. Albert Huggins, Kevin Givens, Ed Oliver, another guy who did really well, met with the Dolphins. Could be a potential Dolphins 13th overall pick. And Porter Gustin from USC. They all did pretty well, but Dexter Lawrence killed it, and that's why you could see he has the potential of going to the Dolphins at 13. But when it comes to players and how they did, there's some injury notes. So Jakia Polite, defensive end from Florida, he had a hamstring injury, so he wasn't able to do his 40. I think he ran once, and then he pulled himself out because of the injury. Dexter Lawrence, like I showed you, had a minor leg injury during workout that kind of held him back from his 30, but he still did his bench press and all that other stuff, and he's still slated to go in the first round, top 15 talent. Now, Montez Sweat had a very, very good combine. He's 6'6", 260 pounds, and he ran a 4.41. Like, are you kidding me? That's faster than most receivers in the NFL. That's faster than 90% of the quarterbacks in the NFL. So watch out for Montez Sweat. He's a fast defensive end that can get off the ball and get after the quarterback, and he met with the Dolphins. So I don't know if the Dolphins will take him or not, but yeah, he met with the Dolphins. You also have defensive tackle Quinnen Williams. Now, you didn't see him there on the 40 when I talked about defensive linemen. He's a 303-pound D tackle, I would say. He ran a 4.83. Now, that might not be that fast, but for a big dude like that, 303 pounds, 6'3", to run a 4.83, he's going to get after that quarterback. And I'll reiterate it, this defensive line draft is deep. I would actually double down if I was the Dolphins. Defensive line for a second. I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, we need a quarterback. We don't have a quarterback. Why would you do that? Da, 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 da. If we can get two of these guys that are just ridiculous, our defensive line would be unstoppable. Taylor, Gottschall, and then having these guys, forget about it. And then you have Brian Burns, defensive end from Florida State. Had great tape. Slotted to be a first-round pick without a question. But his combine just solidified that with his numbers, his bench pressing, his 40-yard time. Brian Burns is another name, like I said, to look out for, especially with this deep defensive line draft. Also, something to wrap your head around. The Miami Dolphins defensive line coach was with Clemson. So he knows these Clemson defensive linemen. There's 3 of them in this draft that have really great speed, skill, and pressure. So don't be surprised if the Dolphins don't draft one of those defensive linemen, especially Dexter Lawrence in the first round. If everything pans out and he does fall in Miami at 13, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to take him. But now let's get to linebackers. Now, like I said, linebackers, it's not a deep draft this year for linebackers. There's a lot of raw talent in this year's draft. But the one thing I will say about linebackers this year is they're fast. Devin White, 4.42. Devin Bush, 4.43. Gary Johnson, 4.43. David Long, 4.45. Like these guys are fast. They're athletic. It's not as deep. With the defensive line, I didn't look at vert jumps and stuff like that because it doesn't pertain to them. But the linebackers, it does. Because you try to throw it over their heads, you try to drop the ball behind them into a pass, and they can jump up and get that. You always want linebackers with good jumping. Devin Bush, 40.5. David Long, 39.5. Devin White, 39.5. Cameron Smith, 39. And Andrew Van Ginkel, 38. The one thing I will say about this linebacker class, and I will say about the guys that performed the best, like my top performers for linebackers, is the Devin White, Devin Bush. Those two guys performed very well when it came to the linebackers at their 40, at their vert jumps on the field, with all their movement and stuff. The Devins performed very well, especially when it comes to Devin Bush. His play on the field and his when he went through his drill shows how really well he could play sideline to sideline. And it can definitely push him into the 20s, into the mid of the first round, depending on how he's interviewed behind the scenes and all that stuff. If he can convince a team that he is the linebacker for his team and he can build a defense around him, you could definitely see him going in that first round. So those are the linebackers, those are the defensive lines. Let's jump into corners and safeties real quick. With the corners and safeties, like I said, I put them into one category, kind of like the defensive tackles and the defensive ends. I kind of just put them into one category, secondary. You could see the number one 40 time was a safety, Zedrick Woods, Mississippi, a 4.29. He just barely beat the record that was held by Myrick. Again, I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong. What a 4.28. So he had a 4.29, really great, really fast on that one. Then you got Jamal Dean, 4.30, or Darnell Savage, 4.36, Mark Fields, 4.37, Greedy Williams, 4.37. When it comes to the vertical jump with these corners and safeties, Juwan Thornhill jumped a 44, really good. Kevin Webster, 43, Marvell Tell, 42, Sean Bunting, 41.5, and Jamal Dean, a 41. Now, some of the names that you should be looking at and looking for when it comes to corners and safeties that performed very well today. So Joe Juwan Williams from Vanderbilt. He's a prime example of not doing great when it comes to like the 40 time and the measurables and stuff, but his film and the way he is on the field propels him. So like I tell you all the time, a lot of this 40 time and all this stuff and a lot of what is going on at the combine is like bells and whistles. It's showing, yeah, your athleticism, but it's different when you're on the field having to press wide receivers, having to get off of blocks, having to get past offensive linemen, having to block defense. It's all film, it's all contact and stuff. And Joe Juwan Williams think I'm saying his name right, the Vanderbilt cornerback, Joe Juwan. He's a prime example of that. He didn't do too great at the combine when it came to his 40 and all that stuff, but his film and the way he plays on the field against opponents, he's still a first-round talent. So watch out for that name. DeAndre Baker from Georgia, again, not a great 40, but he did have a great performance on the field when it came to the drills and all that stuff. And then Rock Ya-Sin from Temple, he's a physical player. So he's another guy that is going to knock your head off. He's a safety, and he ran a really good 40. So you could see him being bottom of the first round pick. With the combine in a whole, my top performers in general with the combine, DK Metcalf, again, he is the talk of the combine. He was the talk of day 2. He is a physical freak. The one thing you have to worry about, and I didn't talk about this when it came to him, is he has 1.9% body fat. Now, he's a physical, freak. I keep calling him a freak, but that's a good thing. If you're watching, don't kill me, please. But the thing you have to worry about is once you get below 8% body fat, there is the high chance of cramping and injuries. Now, if you're like, well, who cares, this, and that, prime example of that, and he was compared to this guy a lot, is David Boston, wide receiver. If you're young, you don't know who David Boston is, check him out. He actually did play for the Dolphins for a little bit. He was a physical freak, and he also had a very low body fat percentage, and he cramped a lot, he got injured a lot. So it is good to be in shape, and it is good to look the way DK Metcalf looks, but you just have to be cautious of it because of that aspect of it. But he did great. The Ohio State wide receivers did really well on day 2. Running backs, again, like I said, it's not flashy. We don't have any Todd Gurley's, Saquon Barkley's, Ezekiel Elliott's. We don't have any of those flashiness, but we do have good, well-rounded running backs. Defensive line, like I keep saying, is deep as shit. Like Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Montez Sweet. Like, we have Bosa. I didn't talk about him, but that's because he is considered a top 3 pick. So like you have to, he's going there. Very, very deep at defensive line. Linebackers, not so deep. There's about 3 or 4 that are great, and the other ones are kind of, okay. Corners, safeties, good. Got some speed out there. Got, some physical safeties in this draft. So in a whole, this draft was good, but I think the thing that we got away from this draft is the defensive line is the deepest, and that's where the Dolphins should focus on. Offensive linemen, there were some good guys in there, but I really think that this is the year the Dolphins should really focus on the defensive line and build that sucker up. Now, I told you guys, after I talk about all this, I got some things that were like you've already seen on the NFL Network. You've already seen if you follow me on Twitter because I retweet it and stuff like that. A lot of things that the GMs and the owners and the head coaches know and have been talking to each other and have been talking to each other's agents. The first thing is everyone and their mother is saying that the Cardinals are taking Murray number 1 and that they're going to trade Josh Rosen. Now, a lot of Dolphin fans want Josh Rosen. I do not want Josh Rosen. I just don't see a point in getting Josh Rosen. Dolphins didn't want Josh Rosen last year. If they wanted him, they would have gotten him. They didn't, so they stayed pat and they drafted Mika Fitzpatrick. So Josh Rosen's not going to the Dolphins. But the word at the water cooler is that he's going to the Redskins. It's a very likely chance he'll be traded to the Redskins. So this is what I'm predicting. Kyler Murray number 1. Even though Bosa probably should go number 1. Kyler Murray number 1, and they trade Josh Rosen to the Redskins for a 3rd or a 4th. Maybe like a 3rd and a 6th next year. You know what I'm saying? Add more meat to the bone because he was a 1st-round pick, and he costs nothing. I think he's like $4 million a year. So that's the one thing. Like I've been telling you guys since free agency started, since the offseason started, since all these rumors started, Nick Foles is going to the Jaguars. It's a foregone conclusion. Everyone and their mother knows it. His quarterback coach that won him a Super Bowl, that helped him get the team to the Super Bowl by coaching him up, is with the Jaguars now. Nick Foles is going to the Jaguars. Foregone conclusion. Also, it's very well known that the Giants want Hoskins, or Haskins, however you say it. I don't give a crap. Giants want him. So if you're a team that wants to draft him, you're going to have to leapfrog over the Giants. It's just a foregone conclusion right now. Also, Denver has their eye on Drew Lock. So I know that they traded for Joe Flacco, but Joe Flacco is old in NFL world. You know, he hasn't performed to his ability and his top money since the Super Bowl. So Broncos are eyeing Drew Lock. And the two teams that are having a difficult time right now are the Miami Dolphins, who are trying to trade Ryan Tannehill, and the Denver Broncos, who are trying to trade Case Keenum. Both teams are trying to trade a quarterback that has a lot of money due to them. So those are if Case Keenum gets traded, right, then all of a sudden the Dolphins are probably just going to cut Ryan Tannehill, because whoever trades for Case Keenum would have wanted Tannehill, and then vice versa. So if Tannehill gets traded, Denver will probably cut Case Keenum. The thing is, you need to think about who's the better quarterback, Ryan Tannehill or Case Keenum. Who could you get more for? You know, who do you not want to have to go into a trading bid for? Who also would agree to cut their contract and renegotiate their contract to play for you, to have the potential to be a starter? Because it is what it is. So that's all the stuff I got coming out of the combine. Comment below. Let me know what you think about the defensive line. Do you like the idea of maybe potentially doubling down on defensive linemen? You know, probably not, because from reading your guys' comments for the past combine videos, you guys don't want to focus on that. But I honestly wouldn't hate doubling down on linebackers. Let me know what you think of the corners. If you guys watch the combine on your own, let me know. If I missed anything, comment below. Let me know. Let me know what you think about all this stuff that's coming out of the combine. Trading Josh Rosen to the Redskins. Foles is going to the Jaguars. Giants want Hoskins. Denver wants Drew Lock. Let me know. Comment below, and I'm going to get to your guys' comment of the day right now. And this comment comes from DM Live, and he says to me, I say we trade down and get Tyree Jackson in the second round, draft an O-line or D-line in the first round. I don't hate that idea. And the aspect of it that I don't hate is the trade down part. Depending on how this draft pans out, and depending on how the picks go, like I said to you guys, the defensive line is incredibly deep in this year's draft. So say somebody is there at 13 that the Dolphins don't want, but at least 3 or 4 defensive linemen that the Dolphins love are still there, and a team wants to jump up to take that player they want, and the Dolphins have no interest in that player, and they're willing to give us a first next year, I would do it. You got 2 firsts next year. You have ammunition to do whatever you want next year. Now, I'm not saying we're going to tank. I don't think we're going to tank. That's why I'm trying to tell you guys that if we could trade down and get an extra first, if we do very well next year, we do better than everyone's expecting us to do, we could still have those 2 first ammunitions to move up to get who we want when we want. So in the aspect of trading down and taking Tyree Jackson in the second, I would take him probably 3rd, 4th. I don't think he's a second round talent. He's really, really, really raw. Like I said, he hasn't played a lot. But the possibility of trading down to get an extra first next year and maybe more draft picks and still taking a defensive lineman because it's that deep this year, I like that aspect. So thank you for the comment. Thank you guys all for commenting all the time. This channel's growing real quick. Just want to throw a quick little cheesy moment in there. I appreciate all you guys. We're almost at 3,700 subscribers. My goal is to hit 4,000 before the season starts. If that could happen, maybe even 5,000 before the season starts. If that could happen, I would be ecstatic. I want this to be full-time for me. I want you guys and the Dolphins and giving you guys this news to be full-time. So I greatly appreciate all the support you guys give me. I greatly appreciate all you guys watching, especially in this dead off season. So again, this is a long video. And you guys wanted long videos. I hope you guys watch this to the end. I hope you guys watch the whole thing. I'm pretty sure you guys do, because you guys tell me all the time you do. So thank you all very much. You guys, you know, reading your guys' comments, even when you guys tell me I'm an idiot, I don't know what I'm talking about, it still makes me laugh. I don't take things personally. I also greatly appreciate when you guys tell me how much you appreciate what I do, all that stuff. Thank you very much. I do it all for you guys and for my love of the Dolphins. Again, this is going to get better. I just got to hang the shelf, and I got to find a stud finder so I can hang the shelf so it doesn't fall. I have more stuff to hang up. But follow me on Twitter. As soon as news breaks, I tweet it before I can come on here and make the video, edit it. This video is probably coming out around like 8 o'clock tonight. But Follow me on Twitter so you can get the news quicker from me. We also can have quicker dialogues, especially when you comment on my posts. So be sure to follow me on Twitter. Follow my second channel, Bit Boys. We're killing it with Resident Evil. We're gonna kill it with God of War. Any new games that are coming out, we're gonna play those. So be sure to go over there if you like those things. Subscribe. Help us break 400. And comment video games you want us to play. We will play them. If it doesn't happen right away, it's because we have to buy the game, we have to record it, I have to edit it, I have to upload it, all that stuff. You know how YouTube works. Give this video a thumbs up. Combine's over. Combine's over, which means I'm going through my prospects videos some more. I got the draft busts and bests for the past 20 years. You guys have voted. It's going to be from 1999 till now. So the best and worst draft picks from 1999 to now. That video is coming out soon. I got a ton planned. Free agency starts, literally, guys. Free agency starts next week. Next Wednesday is the start of free agency. So this channel is going to start buzzing. So subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Even if you're not a Dolphins fan, I'm talking about everyone that's getting signed. Like the Antonio Brown thing, how people are starting to pick teams already for him. If Tannehill gets traded, if Kenny Stills gets traded, not saying I want to, but I'm saying if players start getting traded, you're going to hear it here. So subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm going to do my draft picks, top best, top worst from the past 20 years. So see you guys on Wednesday. But like usual, stay classy. Fins up.